And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is May 20th, 2025. It's 2025. And it's a Tuesday. Hope you're having a good day. As always, serious talk on everything that affects you. We'll do the markets, the economy, your job, your industry, the culprits in Washington, D.C., that have given you the middle finger again. I'm going to explain that extensively today. And anything else that comes to mind. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our Twitter feed, which is now X. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. And if you'd like to email me, just be nice. Just be nice. Don't email me and tell me Israel starts all wars. I got this one yutz that sent me that email, like I'm going to take kindly to that. We move on. Ladies and gentlemen, I just told you in the last few days that I finished watching Cheers, which I didn't even realize ended its run all the way back in 1993. I had no idea. And I absolutely loved the show. And I absolutely felt like I was in a bar the whole time. And I told you the real star of the show was Norm. The real star. The guy who was always there in his chair. Never showed his wife except once with her face covered. Every time he walked in, they yelled, Norm. Norm passed away at the age of 76. George went. Dang it. Died in his sleep. Rest in peace. I loved this man on that show. I told you he was really the star, not Ted Danson. Though Ted Danson was the star. But to me, anyway, I just had to start with that because I just finished streaming it. And I'm not sure I did Friends and Cheers. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. But I got to go back all these shows that I never watched. We move on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to spend some moments with you on the scam and on the con, and a tribute to you first. You see, you know who the economy is. And listen, and I promise we'll get to the markets in a little bit. Let me tell you who the economy is. I went to Starbucks today. Got my usual. They know me. They call me by my first name. Whoever made that, what I got is the economy. Whoever gave it to me is the economy. I went to Publix. The person that overnight is moving stuff from the truck and into Publix is the economy. The cashier there is the economy. The manager is the economy. The person who runs the meat department is the economy. They have a sushi section. The person who does all the sushi is the economy. Every office building you pass is the economy. And not just the CEO of the major company there, but the guy who cleans the toilets is the economy. You better remember that. You better treat him as good as you treat the CEO, because if he doesn't clean the toilets, you're going to be up you-know-what's creek without a paddle. When I was in New York City, I got some Uber Eats. The guy who delivered that to me, the economy. My Uber and Lyft drivers, the economy. When you go to a restaurant, sometimes the kitchens are open, sometimes they are closed. The chefs in there are the economy. The busboys cleaning your tables, how important are they? Well, you don't have a clean table without them. We take that for granted, don't we? They are the economy. Your waiter or waitress is the economy. Do you know that? I was just in and out of airports. Oh my goodness, how many people work at airports? Think about how many people work at airports. They are the economy. The guy who fixes the airplanes, the mechanic, you better know he's the economy. The pilots, the stewards, and are they still called stewardesses? Well, they're the economy. I saw a guy fixing the moving walkway because it was broke. The economy. Think about all that. You know, in my neighborhood, they just did over the roads. The economy. Yesterday morning, they picked up my trash. They're the economy. They're the economy. The landscaper at my house. The economy. And where did the landscaper get the grass from? Oh, the people that sell the grass. Oh, the economy. These people are the economy. And unfortunately, all these people are being let down by these goofballs in Washington, D.C. And I'm being very kind when I say goofball. And I am starting with Trump all the way backwards because President Trump did exactly what he did in his last administration. He told you he was going to do everything about the debt and deficits and then went on to get bills done that massively increased the debt and deficits. But that doesn't change how the MAGA crowd feels about him, and we're not here to disrespect you because we think he does good things too. But again, before him Biden, before him Obama, before him Bush, have all given us the middle finger on what they do. And they think they are so important to us, and they end up getting away with it. And what are we talking about? They have spent, you got to go backwards before that, $37 trillion more than they were supposed to, and there's a guarantee now with this latest bill, the great end-all be-all bill, we're going to $50 trillion, I say, within the next 7-8 years. They say no way, but we know better. They tell us 1, it's 3. They tell us 3, it's 6. So let me just tell you what they did. We were told that they are going to work their tail off and streamline government. And they are going to root out everything Doge. And they were going to do something about Biden and his ridiculous over-the-top spending. They told us that. So why wouldn't they come through? Why wouldn't President Trump come through with that? Well, let me tell you why. Because if they lower government spending, it shows up in GDP. And if GDP's lower, they're worried about midterm elections. So the middle finger to you and I. And why is it the middle finger to you and I by the government spending more than they are supposed to? Because that gets factored in. It pushes out private sector and grows the public sector. Remember, everything the government does is paid for by us. And they found out if they don't have enough, they are going to just go into debt unimaginable amounts like you've never seen before. And we just had this great opportunity. The Republicans won. the House, they got the Senate, they got the White House, and boy, oh boy, are they going to do the job for us. Well, we're going to run $2 trillion deficits every year going forward because of the Republicans now. No longer because of the Democrats. The Democrats are out of power. They're nobodies now. They're just whiners and complainers, just like the Republicans were for 4 years under Biden. Whiners and complainers. What did they complain about for 4 years? I'll tell you up next. And we'll put a bow tie on it. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. So, let me tell you what President Trump and the Republicans could have done, that they promised they would do. Joe Biden came up with a scam, a con. The $1.8 trillion Inflation Reduction Act that he admitted had nothing to do with reducing inflation. Joe Biden. $1.8 trillion. And don't you know there's something called baseline budgeting? You know what that is, right? No matter what they did before and the reason for it, it goes forward. It never goes lower. Baseline budgeting. If the budget was $5 trillion, it starts at $5 trillion the next year, and then they start adding. In that $1.8 trillion was $350 billion that went to John Podesta for climate. That cretin. Why didn't this administration remove that $1.8 trillion? Bueller? Anybody? Why not cut half of it? $900 billion. So instead of spending $7.5 trillion next year, make it $6.6, because that $900 billion would not be spent and show up in the gross domestic product, and maybe that'll hurt the economy in the short run, screw us in the long run. That's why. And that money moves into these other areas that they deem necessary. So I'm just letting you know, the Republicans and Donald Trump that told us and complained about Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, and Joe Biden this and Joe Biden that, and his massive debt and deficits, they are now on repeat. There you have it. Trump repeated what he did last time. When he was running for president first time, he actually said, oh, look, I'm the art of the deal. It's going to be easy for me to get, there's not going to be any debt, any deficits. And of course, within 3 months, he amped it up. Why? Because the Republicans told him we got to spend more. It's good for, that shows up in the GDP. And away we go. And why did I start with each and every one of you and then led to them? Because they're screwing each and every one of you. And why are they screwing you? Because they know they're going to be dead or gone by the time something's going to give. They know that they have watched throughout the years, oh, 20 trillion. Ooh, we got away with that. Well, let's get it to 22 trillion. We got away with that. Oh, let's go to 24 trillion. We got away with that. 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 37. Whew, we got away with it. So let's go 40. What's going to be the difference? Well, what do you think the difference is? Well, let's put it into real terms. The first trillion of your tax dollars and my tax dollars is going towards interest. I want you to think about that. The year 2000, The whole federal spending was $1.8 trillion, yet we're going to have $1 trillion this year going towards interest and $2 trillion plus of debt. We're going to have more debt this year than all the federal spending of the year 2000. How about those numbers? These numbers should be criminal. And I love that they tell you how much they care. And in this bill that Trump and the Republicans are doing, there are tax cuts. And as you know, I absolutely agree with that. And I'm a big believer we should be at 28% highest tax rate like Reagan had. Because it's our money. We worked for it. The government didn't. But the government has turned into believing that we worked for them. They don't work for us. That's what's happened. And that's how we get here. So I'm appreciative of the president. And by the way, tax cuts do not cost anything to the government. It's our money in the first place. Just remember that. What costs the government is their asinine, ASA 10, ASA 11 spending, and the $1 trillion every year going towards interest instead of the roads and the bridges and the elderly and the children and the infirm and the streets and the airports and anything else it's supposed to go to. You know how they tell us how precious it is. So we're just letting you know, we wanted to start by letting you know who you are and how we're appreciative of them, of you, and how we can't stand them. And now President Trump has let us all down. Us, the people that want a fair, efficient, effective government and not running $2 trillion yearly deficits. And he has now guaranteed it. And unfortunately, this is how it works. When Biden lied and was corrupt as all hell, his side didn't say a word. The media didn't say a word. The other side ripped them to shreds. Now you got Trump going to run $2 trillion deficits and had the opportunity not to. And the other side is going to rip him for that, even though they're laughable. But the ones that love Trump are going to say nothing about it. Because, hey, it's our guy doing it. And that's how they get away with it. It's the celebritydom of politics. Oh, but. And that's how you get the $37 trillion of debt going to 50 and even higher. And just there's only one question left. At what point, and we don't know when, and we've said that for a long while, what point is the bond market going to wake up and shoot the middle finger at what they have done? When all hell breaks loose, when yields go up not because of inflation but because of the debt, at what point? And then what happens? Both sides, who's ever running the show then, will blame each other, curse each other out. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. And who's the victims? Us. And we'll end up with 9 and 10% mortgages, if not more. And who knows what else. And you know me, I am not a Cassandra. I'm the biggest believer in us, you and I. I talk about it all the time. This country's doing great things. Us. Great technological advancements, medical breakthroughs. People working their asses off every day to do better for themselves and their families. And what do they do in D.C.? We're going to run $2 trillion deficits. We'll put a bow tie on it next, and we'll do today's market. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And I just want to let you know, and we'll put a bow tie on it, if I had a chance to speak to President Trump, I would say all this to his face. With all due respect, sir, why didn't you? And then I would lay it out. With respect, sir, this is what should have been done. Why didn't you? And you know what he'll say? Well, you got to realize that the votes are the House and the Senate. There's no way they'd let me. And you know what I would say? Sir, You're the head honcho, top dog, big cheese. You have the bully pulpit. You can shame them into doing what you want. And then he'd kick me out of Mar-a-Lago. And remember, I am not saying this to rip them. I'm saying this to help them, because they have no clue what the hell they are doing. And I had high hopes for this president, the second go-round, to do the right thing on the size, scope, and reach of government, and he is just a big government guy. And he's now proven it twice. And he had a really good opportunity this time, and it just ain't going to happen. And please don't email me with, but. We deal in reality here. We don't deal in fluff. We don't deal with because. We deal with outcome. You know what outcome is? Outcome is where exactly do we stand? And what exactly did they do? That's all. That's all. And with all respect to everybody, that's all. Outcome. And as you know, I have given the president a A+++++++ on the border, saving lives. I've given him an A+ on him taking on the colleges, who are a bunch of anti-Semitic, racist ass clowns, and they've proven that. I compliment him on the crime, though there's a big disclaimer on that because of what he did with the J6 people, pardoning all of them, which is crazy. We call balls and strikes, kids. We don't care who the hell it is. We really don't. So we just want to let you know, sheer disappointment on our part on the spending side of this atrocious bill, noting that we're happy. And for those that think, well, Gary, you know, the tax cuts, if they didn't extend the tax cuts, let me repeat, it's our freaking money. And taxes are too high. There are people in certain states that have to work into the month of August to make their first dollar, which is obscene. My sons live in New York City. You got to see what their tax bill is. Local, state, and federal. It's a joke. You would think we're living in Russia. I wish I could have turned back the clock and maybe 10 years ago got into and then ended up president, because it'd be a whole different story. I would actually do what needed to be done. And I would have been a damn good president. All right, we move on, ladies and gentlemen. Well, just let you know at one time today, but let me give you what time today while I'm on it. The Dow today was down over 300 points later in the day, I believe. Actually, 305. The Dow was down 300 points, 42,485, and rallied up 180 points in an hour. More than 180 points in an hour. To finish down 114, so negligible. The NASDAQ at that same time was 19,015. That was 137. Was down 205 and only finished down 72. And had a big rush in the last 10 minutes. And I would have told you at 3 o'clock, well, here comes some distribution. We're going to have a decent pullback. And then they said, screw. And maybe all we have is nothing. Just a little down day. Well, we'll see what tomorrow brings. What the market decides. I think we're still in good stead. One thing I think the market needs is to wipe the smiles off the faces of the bulls. I can tell you the giddiness of people that kept telling you to buy while the market was crumbling, where some of the stocks are still down 30 or 40% from them highs. The giddiness of these people is beyond the beyond, and you know what I mean by that, and who I'm talking about. We don't name names, though. But we're a big believer that right now the giddiness is extreme, and that has to be wiped out. And you know how you do that? Time and price and pullbacks. And the market had a chance today to start pulling back, and by the end of the day it said, ain't happening. Maybe tomorrow that occurs. I don't know. So we're down 114, 72, 79 on the NASDAQ 100. Transport's 155. A lot of a lot of red today when all was said and done. The star of the day was gold. As I told you, on Friday, gold, the GLD held the 50-day moving average almost to the penny and has bounced off of it nicely. So gold remains in an uptrend as long as it keeps riding that 50-day moving average on the pullbacks. The new yearly high list has been picking up, and that's good news. There's recoveries, and then there's the new yearly high list. These are things that are breaking out into new high ground and starting really good uptrends. So there are a few things out there, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. We're pretty much past earnings season, though. For instance, Home Depot reported earnings. And I will tell you that it opened up, it was $389, if I got that right, finished at $377. So it was up 10, finished down 2. So they distributed that stock on earnings, which, by the way, were down 3% year over year. Home Depot had said, unlike Walmart, will not be raising prices because of tariffs. And guess what I say to that? I say that that's good for the consumer. And of course, they're doing it for a reason. They don't want what happened to Walmart, where the president ripped Walmart for saying they're going to have to raise prices because of the tariffs. And I find it the president raises taxes on companies and then tells them they can't raise prices. I think that's another mistake by the president. The president of price controls. Not a fan. Not a fan. So we'll just keep following it. We'll let you know. Normal little minor pullback by the end of the day today. Looked like it was going to be worse, and then they just stuck it to the bears in the last 45 minutes. Still a down day, but what I call not a biggie. If it turns into a biggie, we'll let you know. You can't hide bad markets. You can't hide what we call big institutional selling. The word we use is distribution. And today, by the close today, I call it a nothing. And volume was light anyhow. And that be the story. The S&P volume picked up a little bit from yesterday. I am seeing that. My hope, I'd love to see a couple of weeks of nothing. No, really. That sets things up better. Other things today, I noticed Hovnanian today was down $14 on their 64% drop in earnings, 3% drop in sales. So the home building stocks did not have a very good day. Oils remain pretty much weak. Wouldn't go near them. Put a little pullback in the financials today and the economically sensitive and the insurance and the transports. There are pullbacks in a bunch of places today. But when all was said and done, negligible. Up next, this, that, and the other thing, or whatever else. This is the one only Investor's Edge. All right. Let me repeat something. Before you all send me emails, blah, 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 Gary, everything I said to you was fact. Pure fact. I know how Washington works. I know how government works. I know the ability or no ability to do things. They had the ability to roll back a bunch of the Biden crap and did not. Because if you cut the size of government and spending, you will potentially cut the economy in the near term. And regardless that it had to do with government, you will believe that you will pay a price, and they do not want to pay a price come next year in November. Because, well, frankly, I don't want the Marxist Party to ever have power again, and they are Marxists in the truest sense. By the way, you know who has the highest ratings from Democrats right now? AOC, a Marxist. She's an absolute control freak Marxist. I think Bernie Sanders is number 2. Two of the biggest economic morons in the history of Washington, D.C. And if I had 15 minutes of time of the people that love them, I think I convert all of them. Little do they know that their goal of these two is to control everything about your lives. No, not kidding. That's what Marxists are. And by the way, I say Marxist because I mean it. I don't use it as a pejorative. That's what they are. Moving on. So let's, sector by sector, gold remains an uptrend. Held the 50-day moving average. Better day for biotechs today in a big bear market. Waste management, there's only 3 or 4 names. Broke down, come right back up. They get your garbage. Managed care, HMOs, United Health up another $5 today. Remember, CEO, CFO bought $30 million worth of stock on Friday. Was up strong yesterday and a little bit more today. So they're making some good cheese already. Wish we knew that in real time. I don't know if I would have bought any at the time. But it would have been nice to know in real time, but that's the name of the game when it comes to insider buying and selling. You find out a little bit after. Europe. The new yearly high list is laden with a bunch of exchange-traded funds from Europe. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. If you want, you go look at symbol EFA, VEA, EWG, EPOL, EWI, EWP, EWU, DAX. That's the German DAX. Europe is stronger than us right now. And don't ask me the hell why, because I don't think their economies are that great. So whatever's going on, the market is flowing there. I don't know if it's a negative on us or a positive on them. Just letting you know. Already extended. And just so you know, they crashed also with us. But they talk about a V-shape back up. Europe. That's all I can tell you. V-shape back up. I've been asked on China. I'm mixed bag on those right now. And I watch Alibaba the most, and not doing much for me. Not doing much. I've been asked a lot about Boeing. It's new yearly high, one of the few. Actually, it's been picking up, so I can't say one of the few anymore. Keep in mind, Boeing is still down over, 50% from the old highs of like 18 or 19. And boy, oh boy, have they gone through a bunch. I've been asked whether I believe that the Middle East is actually going to buy the amount of airplanes that they say they're going to buy. No, I don't believe that. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. I think there's a lot of pleasing going on right now. And the same goes for some of these companies that said to the president, oh, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing in the United States. I don't believe those numbers either. And by the way, that's not a rip on the president. We've seen these type of numbers bandied about in many years with other presidents and never came to fruition. Or 25%, 50%. We'll take anything at this point in time. We're all for it. The big banks still act fine, though Goldman is acting a little squirrely here, and that's something to watch. Bank of New York, BK, that's a new yearly high. It's the only one. Sneaked up. BK. And by the way, we're not advocating buying, selling, shorting, or covering. We're just telling you where the stocks are. The bond market, 10-year yield 4.48. Was above 4.5. For the record, we don't want it going much higher. We do not want it going much higher. If it gets through 5, I think there could be repercussions. If we go through 5. Do I think we're going to go through 5? I'm not saying it as of yet. I'm not in that camp. How's that? We'll let you know if that changes. And the rest, the Fed's out of the way for right now. And the fact of the matter is, less of the Fed, the better. And you know what? I'm not a fan of Powell, but I'm actually thrilled with him at this juncture for doing nothing. And if I notice that the Fed is speaking less. They're still out there, but really much less effect by them. And that's good to see. We love bond markets that are quiet, not all over the map. And that's a good thing. We don't believe the president should be jawboning them. But that's not going to change. And that's all that. Until tomorrow, you have a great evening. Drive carefully. Don't send me any hate mail. We're here for you. Remember how we started the show. And when you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Thanks for joining. Have a good night. Bye-bye.